It's December 30, 2021. We're coming close to the finish line of this year, a very testy, trying year. And today, here on Agenda, we will feature several interesting topics that cropped up towards the latter end of the year. But first, allow me to thank you for joining us here on Agenda and for being subscribers of Cignal TV channels 8 and 250 here on One News PH. And of course, as always, thank you to PLDT for their home fiber optic internet. Okay, today we're going to talk about the first topic would be regarding the pandemic scammers. Okay, pandemic scammers. Last month, telecommunication services warned the public of the SIM swap scam, and we interviewed Megawide Construction Corporation Director Oliver Tan to narrate how his wife was scammed with this modus operandi. And mind you, I wrote a column in the Philippine Star on this subject, and it really went viral. NBI Cybercrime Chief Lorenzo also joined our discussion to further explain what this SIM swap scam is all about. Let's go and watch this. Let's start with Mr. Oliver Tan. Oliver, you sent me the letter. Could you just do a quick recap of what happened to your wife?
Yeah. Firstly, thank you for your precious time, Cito and Mr. Lorenzo. So, last October 22, late in the afternoon, around 5:23 p.m., my wife innocently answered a call from an unknown caller who identified himself as a supervisor of a courier company and that there was a package for my wife. She was requested to hold her line for a few minutes for him to check the tracking number. And when he returned, he gave further details about the package and that the sender was from a certain Lawrence Tango of California. When my wife sensed something must be wrong, she actually told the person that I'm sorry, it was a mistake, and I don't know certain individual named Lawrence Tango. And then she hung up her phone. Immediately thereafter, she lost her signal, and since it was already early evening, she went on to prepare dinner. And over dinner, she asked me and my son, do you have a signal? May signal ba kayo? Kasi it's weird. After this call, I lost my signal. And then my daughter, who just finished her class, also said, me too. I don't have a signal. So when my wife narrate the story that it's strange after the call, nawala yung signal. So my daughter said, ako din may tumatawag sa akin. So when she asked for the number, apparently it's the same number, but my daughter did not answer the call because she was in class that time. She only texted back, "Who's this?" Then after that text, she lost her signal also. So it was weird. Now we're sending parang this must be weird. But since it's already evening, so I said, sige, itulog muna natin. Let's deal with the situation the next day. So the following day, which is a Saturday, October 23, my wife rushed to the nearest Globe store in the area to report the incident. But before she left the house, she tried calling the bank hotline to inform the bank about the incident and want to hold her credit card. But she cannot get through the answering machine. She started calling 8 a.m. That Saturday. So when she was accommodated in Globe's South Mall, that was around 11:30 a.m. na, the branch there tried calling her number. Lo and behold, a male person answered the call on another device. So that was when the South Mall branch learned about this hacking incident, and then so her SIM card was restored and that of my daughter. And when she finally uh, get through the bank hotline through another category, kasi there was dial 1 for credit card, dial ano for online banking. She tried a different category. She was able to get through, a call center agent pick up the call and told her, "Ma'am, you're at the wrong kasi your concern is credit card." But she said, "This is emergency. I cannot get through that That's why I passed through this online banking." And she was shocked when she was told that there were uh, approximately 14 transactions made between 12 midnight to 2 a.m. early morning, no? Totaling to millions of pesos paid to a Binance. So she was shocked, in total shock, to learn about the incident. And so the bank call center agent advisor to file a dispute na lang after 3 banking days. Okay. So the next day, which was a Sunday, we received a call from Globe Investigative Unit and narrate to us the initial findings. Apparently, the Globe South Mall endorsed the incident to them and narrate the incident. That was when we learned, as per the initial findings, that there was a female impostor who went to Robinson's Galleria. Oh, sorry. First, the female impostor called the Globe hotline, requesting Globe to cut the line of my wife. And then thereafter, I'm not sure if the same female impostor or another female impostor went to Globe Robinson's Galleria to request for a replacement of the SIM because she lost her phone. And this female impostor presented two IDs. One is a voter's ID and another one is a teen ID. So long story short, she was given the new SIM, and that's when Globe learned na that this is a SIM swap case. No? And then on Monday, through a friend, a bank branch manager, she referred us to Sir Victor Lorenzo. So that Monday morning, Sir Victor graciously answered our call naman. So we narrate the incident, and he requested us to send a formal letter requesting for investigative assistance, and which we did. We sent to him via Viber. And of course, the next day, Tuesday, that's when I sent an email to you, Cito, about the incident.
Vic, going back to you, no, dun sa mga naging cases ng SIM swap, wala bang system where images are taken of these criminals or kasi nagpapakita ng information ng ID, pero wala bang security process na, sir, pa-picture ho muna para may record kami, or ma'am, pa-picture muna, may record kami na nag-request kayo nitong SIM swap na ito? Meron bang ganon? Paano ba nyo nahuhuli ang mga criminal na yan?
Sir, ang challenge kasi natin ngayon, we are required to wear face mask. Kaya sir, minsan, yun talaga ang nagiging excuse nila. In fact, kinapitalize nila yon. Mm-hmm. Sir, ang ano lang naman namin, commitment lang naman namin yung lahat naman sila, sir, mahuhuli. Sooner or later, mahuhuli sila, sir. Alam mo kung bakit? Hindi sila titigil. Hindi sila titigil. At pag kami nakahuli, sir, madami kaming information, nalalaman tungkol doon sa modus operandi nila, on how they operate, sino ang mga members, and how they actually target individuals.
Okay, but what is the profile of these people, Vic? Kasi ano ba ito? Are these petty criminals or is this organized crime? Kasi parang napaka-sophisticated na. Inaral muna si Mrs. Tan, and then after aralin si Mrs. Tan, pumunta sa Globe, nag-apply ng SIM swap habang may tumatawag kay Mrs. Tan at saka doon sa anak ni Mrs. Tan. Kasi clearly, they didn't know which number is the right Tan to block, so they blocked both. So habang tinatight guarding nila, they kept the lines busy so that Globe could not check them. And then nagkaroon na ng SIM swap. Parang hindi yata ito trabaho ng mga kanto boy, pare ko.
Sir, you will be amazed how young yung mga hackers that we have arrested. Napakaano nila, sir. They really find ways. Considering na yung lockdown, sir, ang daming na-cultivate na mga individual hackers who are collaborating right now with other young hackers Natututo sila, sir, and they were able to develop yung mga hacking tools, phishing sites. Kasi nakaupo sila, hindi sila makalabas, sir. And
Okay.
considering na lahat naka-online,
Profile, economic status, age, education.
ang basic, sir, ng mga hackers na for those people who are responsible in getting personal information, hacking into our system, at the same time, doing phishing sites, doing phishing tools.
Yeah,
Ano
yeah.
lang, sir, ang common denominator lang nila, sir, is that they are either IT students or IT graduates.
Okay, common.
Yun ang common.
Economic level. Alam nyo, mga kaibigan, nagtataka kayo, bakit pa Sito ang kulit mo economic level? Kasi alam po ninyo, many of us only think, or always think that the criminals are of or are from the poor side of town. But in recent times, we have discovered that many of those selling drugs, doing the hacking, etc., are rich kids. So I just want to be able to give our viewers an idea. Vic, anong klaseng mga bata ito? IT
Sir,
students, IT graduates, what else?
ang sa class ng society, sir, wala na eh, wide range na, sir. Either you are poor, rich, sa middle class, lahat, sir, lahat. Remember, sir, hindi triggered yan ng financial gains. Sometimes it is triggered by curiosity.
Yeah, but you know, the Tans are not ordinary people. I'm in the article I'm writing based on the profile of the Tans. 20% of the population of the Philippines are potential victims to these people.
Tama yun, sir. I'm talking about yung hacker, sir. Hacker's
Oo,
profile.
okay.
Sa atin, ang victim, sir, wala na. Before, ang love scam, they will target a certain age bracket. Pero ngayon, sir, hindi na eh. Ngayon din sa scams, yung mga credit card fraud, bank fraud, ganyan, they are targeting all individuals regardless of age. Kasi lahat tayo may access sa credit card, lahat tayo may access sa financial data natin. Lahat tayo are online right now. So wala na silang pinipili kung sino lang ang may potential target victim nila, and they will go for it.
Okay.
Lahat tayo sa social media.
Okay, Oliver, what has this experience make you realize? I mean, what did you learn in terms of your personal security, data, etc., and banking options?
Well, one, I think because of this experience, the whole family cut down on their social media exposures. No? I think that would be Facebook, well, all the social media exposure. And second, in terms of the financial record, we have been very careful talaga. I come from a finance background, being an ex-CFO. No? So we're really very careful in protecting those logins, password, transaction password. And I think one thing we learned is that, admittedly, I think we've been living our life in a bubble because after this incident, I myself Google a lot and learned that this SIM swap pala, matagal na. I've been reading sa Google, may 2011 pa, as far back as 2000, before 2010. So, have we been more, and after this article nga, Sito, a lot of friends of friends has been texting me na, nangyari din yan sa amin, gano'n. So, I learned na, okay, this has been going on pala for a long time, but siguro out of fear, people choose to keep quiet, no? And have it been siguro more educational, people will be more careful. I'm not saying we are restless, but I'm saying more awareness kasi will keep the people more careful then.
Okay, so you cut down on your social media exposure. You became more aware of your surroundings and of what's happening out there, and you're more careful. Now, Vic, based on what Oliver has said, and actually, pare ko, ang daming mga nag-react sa akin na shock ako that that article went viral. And apparently, you know, it is nobody's fault but everybody's responsibility. Kung titingnan natin, ano? Kasi yung bangko, they were following established protocols. Globe Telecoms was following established protocols, and yet because criminals will do what they can to break through, nangyari na ito. What is the NBI or the government doing regarding this problem? And is there work between the telcos and the banks? Kasi yun ang sinabi ko doon sa mga representatives ng mga institutions. You need to go out there and be more proactive. In fact, sinuggest ko nga, Vic, dapat magbigay ng bounty yung mga bangko at yung mga telco para mahanap lahat itong mga swappers na ito.
Yes, sir. Actually, you are correct that in fighting yung mga scams, online scam, it is a shared responsibility. Shared responsibility between law enforcement, the public, yung mga private institutions, financial institutions. We are in constant coordination with the bank, sir, even with the telephone companies. Kaya lang, sir, talaga, it is a reality that these hackers, scammers will actually find ways. Meron talaga, sir, palagi, nag-i-evolve kasi ang technology, and they will always find a gap in the system that these financial institution, telephone companies are implementing. Kaya nga ho, natututo tayo eh. Kaya nga in-appreciate namin for the public to file complaint with us. Hindi namin masasabihin na lahat masosolve namin. Ang sinasabi namin lang ay sooner or later, mahuhuli sila and we will file charges against them. Nag-e-evolve talaga, sir. Nasabi nga ni Oliver kanina, 2011. May mga SIM swap na yan, pero ibang modus dati. Ngayon nag-evolve. Kaya yung may gap na nakita sila, then they've capitalized on that. We will continue to address yung issue, sir. Alam namin kasi, sir, talagang madaming mga scammers ngayon. And hopefully, sir, mag-subside na naman yung mga scams, online scams natin.
Well, yeah, but okay, as far as what the institutions can do, kasi sinabi na natin na the individual, yung citizen, kailangan mag-ingat sa social media exposure, always install privacy settings, etc. Pero yung sa mga bangko and sa mga telcos, you've suggested that the telco should track the original SIM card. I've suggested that anybody asking for a SIM change should have a photo and thumbprint. Yung bang fingerprint technology, napakahirap pa ba nun? Kasi sinabi ko nga dun sa bagong column ko, 15 years ago, yung anak ko, iniwan namin sa isang PlayStation sa mall, and meron na silang fingerprint machine na lalagay mo yung fingerprint mo para pag kinuha mo yung bata, kailangan yung fingerprint mo pa rin ang mababasa ng fingerprint reader. Napakahirap ba nun, Vic?
Yung may technical issue kasi dyan, sir, yung maintenance ng database, and considering na hindi lahat naman, sir, either nag-apply ng clearances, so wala kang ma-create na database. It's a good idea, pero sir, medyo talaga
but there's a timeline involved here. From getting the SIM, from doing the SIM swap to breaking into the bank account or the credit card, everything usually happens in 24 to 48 hours. Sinasuggest ko nga store the fingerprint for a duration of 7 days maybe, and if no complaints are filed, then you can just discard it. Mahirap ba yun?
Sir, maybe siguro business on the business side, sir, ng telcos, they have to consider that. Pero magandang idea yun, sir. Magandang idea, but there will be an investment on the part of mga telephone companies if they're going to implement that.
According to Global Consumer Pulse Study of TransUnion, a global information and insights company, 44% of Philippine-based consumers have been targeted by digital fraud in the first quarter of the year 2021. Eastern Samar, Makati City, and Manila were top 3 areas with the highest share of suspected fraudulent digital transactions. online fraud attempts were mostly targeted to Gen Z or those born between 1995 and 2002 at 48%, followed by millennials or those born between 1980 and 1994 at 42%. So Oliver, pasok kayo dyan sa millennial group na yan. TransUnion has seen a 31% increase in attacks this year from pre-pandemic level. Okay? And victims of online scam in 2019, 1,100 complaints. 2020, 1,875 complaints. And 2021, 1,775 complaints according to the PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group. Hindi pa kasama dyan yung NBI. So Oliver, you were about to say something before we went to the break.
Yes. If we may allow to share some suggestion based on our experience. Again, we are not here to find fault.
Yeah.
No? Kasi our observations are the following. Number one, based on limited details that we secured from Globe, the female impostor went to Robinson's Galleria at around almost at an hour when the store or the mall is about to close on a Friday. Yeah? So that's, I would say, around siguro 7:30 to 8 p.m. when the mall is about to close. Number two, the female impostor went to Robinson's Galleria when from the Globe files were from south of Metro Manila. Why would you go to Ortigas when we are based in South Metro Manila to request for a SIM swap? Okay, and then number three, the ID presented was a voter's ID. When my wife applied for the line, she presented a driver's license, a different kind of ID. So I think things like that doesn't match. Maybe that should already raise a red flag, no? And then for the financial institution naman, the transactions were made madaling araw, 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. 14 transactions with, I think, 3 to 4 minutes interval, multiple. So granted na the protocols were followed, OTP was sent, although went to another device. Siguro as a suggestion, dapat automatic yan kinat kasi madaling araw. And then Binance, my wife's never heard of a Binance guy. And in fact, she doesn't know ano yun di ba?
Okay. Vic, were you able to track or trace the destination of the stolen money?
Sir, ano pa lang, umpisan pa lang kasi namin yung investigation. We just received the formal complaint from Oliver Tan. Pero we made initial query already with the bank and with the Globe.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I won't meddle with the investigation dahil SOP naman yan, ano? But in this kind of situations, what does the NBI do? Do you coordinate with Interpol or some other body like a global banking network to track this? Kasi I'm sure by this time, may kayong mga nasa law enforcement, ang lawak na siguro ng mga interaction nyo and joint operations.
Sir, there will be a challenge. We need to verify with the banks kung saan talaga ang transaction. If it will be through Binance, medyo challenge yun, sir, for the recovery. Kasi nga, cryptocurrency siya, it could hop in from one account to another. Nasa exchange na kasi siya So, meron tayong challenge doon. At the same time, sir, meron na tayong mga leads. Of course, we have the leads. Somebody presented yung mga ID. We have to verify genuine ba yan or fake yung mga IDs. Sometimes, hindi rin kasi hindi aware yung nagpo-provide ng ID na part na pala siya ng scamming activity. We have to determine.
That ID had the photo from what I understand. Is that in your possession?
Wala pa, sir. Hindi pa. Kasi we will need to get that from Globe, yung photocopy supposedly ng ID presented in support of the transaction.
Okay. Well, anyway, guys, we've run out of time, but I would just like to commend Oliver Tan and his wife for going out in public and talking about this and helping us make thousands of people aware. Kasi hindi lang po dahil lumabas sa column ko, kung hindi ang daming nag-share ng article, yung sulat ni Oliver Tan, that went viral. And with the help of the NBI and also the PNP Cybercrime Group, we hope to arrest these people or at least find a way to reduce this, sabi nga ni Mr. Vic Lorenzo. Thank you, gentlemen, and have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
And we're back here on Agenda. From SIM swap scams, let's now go to Ferraris, smuggled Ferraris, all 78 smuggled Ferraris. Let's speak with the Assistant Commissioner of the Bureau of Customs, Jet Maronilla, regarding luxury car smuggling in the Philippines. As I pointed out, it is unfortunate that the Bureau of Customs only get featured when you have a arrest and seizure, or when there is someone in the BOC being accused of corruption. Sabi ko, parang wala nang nagawang mabuti yung BOC pag iisipin mo. So let's talk about the accomplishments and the activities of the BOC. First up, let's begin with the BOC efforts on chasing down all of these luxury vehicles and luxury goods na are finding their way below, with taxes, ano ba yun, tawag mo doon? Ano bang tawag doon? Underpayment of taxes? Ano ba yung gamit yung term dyan sa customs?
Ang gamit naming term, sir, is undervaluation. They undervalue their goods because our duties and taxes are ad valorem, no? Yun ang technical term. Meaning, the basis for imposing the rates of duties and taxes are based on the value that our importers declare. So if you lower your value, you will be able to lower the payment of duties and taxes that you will pay the government.
Okay, now, so they undervalue their goods. Now, para ma-appreciate ng mga manonood, why is this so important that the BOC goes after this? How much money is the government losing in this non-payment or undervaluation for taxes that's going on?
Let's say, for example, for the luxury items industry, like cars. Cars are a major source of our revenue. Among the top 10 revenue makers of the Bureau of Customs are taxes coming from luxury items. So this is what we classify as highly dutiable items, sir. So it's very important that we're able to know that the declaration for us, number one, is correct. Number two, that the value being declared is correct, and so that we can collect the proper duties and taxes. Remember, sir, that when you levy duties and taxes for luxury items, we levy as much as double the value of the items. Meaning, if you compute it based on the rate of duty and the excise taxes being imposed by the Bureau of Internal Revenue that the Bureau of Customs is actually collecting for, ang value niya, ang taxes na binabayaran almost pareho nung bili nung luxury item. So if you buy, let's say for example, a Ferrari worth 20 million, your duties and taxes that you owe to the government when we compute it is actually about the same, about 20 million. So that's how much revenue we generate out of these luxury items.
Okay, but in this case, lumalabas, if a Ferrari costs 20 million and the duties and taxes are 20 million, whatever the smuggler does not pay in that 20 million tax is already his income. Lumalabas ngayon na yung mga Ferraris worth 20 million nabebenta ng 25 million to 28 million. So nagtataka lang ako, paano nangyayari yan, Jet? I know, okay, I know how it happens, but for the education of the public, how does this thing happen na parang halos, tinatakas na lang sa customs or what?
Sir, that's, gusto namin ma-find out, no? As you said, sir, meron kaming operations with our intelligence and enforcement bureaus,
Mm.
enforcement groups about these luxury vehicles, no? Kasi may mga reports na rin kami nakuha that marami nga nagbebenta nito. And yet, we want to make sure na itong mga to dumaan sa amin. Meron din, we're checking our records also, and it seems that some might not have been brought through the proper channels sa bureau. Yung
Mm.
iba naman, we're going to check yung value ho, no? So yun lang, yun yung goal ho namin. Kasi nga, tama yung nasabi niyo sa article niyo, masyadong mura yung benta eh. If you look at how duties and taxes play out in the total cost of these items, they should not be selling these items at that very low prices. But again, there are also modus na baka mamaya na ang dineclare is brand new pero tapos mababa yung value pero second hand naman pala ang
Yun,
ang
ang galing,
cost.
ang ganda ng sinabi mo na yan. Kasi, ladies and gentlemen, there is a prohibition. Bawal pong magpasok ng second hand na mga sasakyan. Okay? Now, there is, if I remember, a 500,000 peso excise tax levied on second-hand cars. So, pero Jet, ano ba ang rule ngayon? Pwede pa bang makapagpasok ng second-hand vehicle pero bayad ka ng 500,000 or bawal na talaga?
Sir, totally bawal na ho. That's the protection that we give to our dealers, no? Legitimate dealers na nagpo-provide ng investment, nagpo-provide ng trabaho sa atin. So para hindi sila makompromiso, what the law or EO 156, Executive Order issued by President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, totally bans the importation of second-hand vehicles unless, of course, you fall under the exceptions. OFW ho kayo, returning resident, yun sa mga yon, pwede ho. Kaya members of the diplomatic corps, nababalik dito, pwede ho yun, yung mga yon. Very, very exceptional ho yun. But to actually bring in second-hand cars for sale or for personal use of persons na hindi naman na nagbibilong dun sa class na yun, totally bawal ho yun. Yung sinasabi nyo amendment na may fine lang na babayaran, I think that was already clarified that those are not applicable anymore and that the prevailing rule is that second-hand vehicles are totally banned from importation.
So in effect, your suspicion or you're saying that many of these luxury cars that are coming in aren't latest model. Kumbaga, hindi sila talagang pinakabago, pinalalabas lang na bagong modelo pero in actuality, they are maybe 3 or 4 years older. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. That's a very big possibility. How else will they be able to sell it at that low price and still maintain their cost, no? So,
Okay.
yun ho yung aming duda.
Paano mangyayari, Jet, kung may nakabili? Hindi ako kasi wala akong ganyang klaseng pera. Ako ay 20 years older or older ang binibili ko. Hindi 20 million or newer. Ano? Pero matanong ko lang, what if somebody honestly buys a car believing, kasi pumunta ka doon sa showroom. Nitong mga vendors na to, magandang showroom, madaming mga kuti-kutitap, and then may binibigay siyang papel at sinabi siyang, sir, tax paid do yan, walang problema. And may binigay pang BOC tax payment. And then biglang ni-raid ng Intel group ninyo at hinuli, paano na yung buyer in good faith?
Yun yung problema, sir, no? The buyer in good faith, ang protection lang na makukuha mo dyan is that hindi ka namin nahabulin for violation, penal violations ng batas namin. Meaning, hindi ka makakasuhan ng smuggling, kung ano man yung mga fraudulent acts for bringing in the cars, hindi ka may involved. But ang malaking problema mo, syempre, yung proseso ho kasi namin sa batas, no? Ang hinahabol namin dyan yung kotse. So, whatever you paid for that car, kung nakita namin na may fraud, wala na ho yun. Masiseize namin yung cars. Now, if there's really no fraud, but there are deficiencies because you're now the owner, for you to be able to get fully yung ownership mo nung kotseng yun without any liability from the government, ang mangyayari ho, kayo pa sasagot nung difference na yun. But of course, you can always run after the one that sold you those cars, no? And cooperate with us so that we can properly investigate them. But again, may mga masakit ng ulo na kasama yan kapag medyo nagka-problema yung papeles ng kotse mo. That's why, of course, we don't discourage people who wants to really bring in and import cars, luxury cars, as long as they comply with the requirements of the Bureau of Customs. Pero
Meron ba kayong, sorry, Jetta,
Yes,
kasi
sir.
siguro this is something that you and me and everyone can work together, no? Meron bang system ang BOC, Bureau of Customs, similar to the LTO? Kasi sa LTO, if you want to check on a particular vehicle, kung ito ba registered, legitimate, etc., you dial a number, you put in the plate number, and lalabas, pati kung ano yata yung VIN number ng kotse na yon. Diyan ba sa BOC, do you have a system where before I even buy a car, a luxury car, I can send you the VIN number and kasi normally wala pa yatang mga plate number yung mga binibenta na yan, di ba? Or meron?
Yung iba, sir, meron. May mga plate numbers, no? Others even have conduction stickers. Yung meron na nag-issue rin naman ho talaga yung LTO niyan. But what they can do, sir, is that we have two ways, no, that they can verify. Number one, online, we have our BOC Cares system. So they can, sa website ho namin, www.customs.gov.ph, meron dun portion about BOC Cares, yun yung aming customer care portal system at saka customer care feedback system namin. Pwede ho kayo magtanong doon at immediately sasagutin namin yan. Meron kaming internal sa amin na verification system at doon namin binibigyan ng feedback yung publiko through our BOC Care system. So, email ho kayo sa boc.cares@customs.gov.ph. Punta kayo sa website namin. May direktang link doon. Pwede kayo magtanong doon via email chat. Mabilis din yung sumagot kasi number one, meron kaming talagang 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Workers that are answering all your calls. Tapos may call center pa kami that we engage to be able to address these concerns. Number two, very simply, dun sa mga walang internet, text lang po kayo sa hotline 8484. So you send a text message to 8484 and then we reply to you.
Okay, so text, ano ite-text ko sa inyo? VIN number, model ng sasakyan?
Yes, sir. And your request to have them verified if duties and taxes have been paid.
How quickly will you be able to respond? Kasi siyempre naman, kung gusto kong bilhin, pero siyempre, willing naman dapat ang buyer maghintay, no? Pero, alam mo, yung mga salesman, ang gagaling, sir, may interesado dyan, meron nagtatanong na dyan, meron na nga gusto mag-down payment dyan, pero dahil mahal kita, bibigay ko na lang sa'yo. How quickly will the BOC be able to respond?
Sir, it takes about siguro mga 2 to 3 hours lang for us to be able to verify that. Because ang ginagawa naman ng mga call centers namin, binabato lang yan sa proper office. And those offices, we've automated majority of our data centers. And that particular office, the Import Assessment Service, has a database already of all luxury cars and all cars cleared with the Bureau of Customs. So it's a simple verification where we type the VIN, we're able to verify it and provide a feedback mechanism already to the one asking us about certain information ng kotse.
Well, clearly, Commissioner Ray Guerrero acts quickly on mga ganitong mga issues kasi nabasa lang na, actually, nag-umpisa lang yung column ko, kakapiranggot, nagbanggit lang ako ng 6 na kotse. Biglang isang buong department nyo na tumatawag sa akin, kayo talaga, ang kukulit.
Actually, sir, 4 na deputy commissioner yata yung tinext niya, including me. It's just that the intelligence group was the first one to reach out to you.
Oo nga, but eto, no, Commissioner Ray Guerrero really is on the ball, watching all of this. Now, yung kanila Deputy Commissioner Rainer Ramiro ba yun? Sila naman yung gumalaw. I'm just curious, do they only go out to inspect the suspected or reported outlets, or wala ba sila yung regular parang monthly go around dito sa mga dealerships or outlets na ito? Sandali, pakilabas nyo nga lahat yung mga kotse ninyo dyan, stencil natin and pakita ninyo, tapos counter check sa inyong data. Is this done regularly? Kasi parang to my mind, kasi nung nanghuli kayo 2 weeks ago, ang dami na raw nagpulasan eh. Marami raw na walang mga kotse, and they sought refuge in private villages. Yung mga nakaparada sa mga tindahan, biglang nag-uwian. May kapitbahay daw dyan sa bandang Green Hills eh. Overnight, may Ferrari, may Lamborghini at 2 Porsche. Sabi ng mga security, boss, meron yatang nanalo sa loto dito sa Weteng.
Sir, that's a regular thing that we're doing now, no? Nagkataon lang ho kasi before this issue actually came out, we were concentrating on agricultural products. December ho kasi. When the bear months actually comes in, there are certain priority items na tinututukan namin para hindi naman mapahamak yung mga kababayan natin. So we tried to concentrate on those, but there's a team, specific team already on this already. And I think the instruction coming from Deputy Commissioner Ramiro is to have follow-up operations and regularly check already, no? Yung mga luxury items, not just I think cars, but other luxury items being sold online.
Jet, matanong ko lang, no? Kasi parang curious na rin siguro mga Pinoy, ano pa ba yung mga ini-smuggle maliban dyan sa mga kotse na yan?
The luxury items, sir, madami.
Hindi, lahat. Yung bang sakit nyo sa ulo na kahit anong hulihin nyo, panay pa rin na smuggling.
Yung totohanan ho, minsan nakikiusap din kami sa publiko, no? Yung mga madalas silang tangkilikin. Mga murang, pagdating ho ng pasukan, mga substandard at murang mga gamit pang eskwela, yan, sinisiguro namin i-raid yan kasi we've had reports before, no, that even raincoats, yung mga raincoat na binebenta na substandard, the paint that was used were actually may lead content, so that if yung anak nyo pag ginamit yung mga ganong klaseng raincoats and it rains, the paint actually sticks to the skin and pumapasok yung lead content dun sa skin ng anak nyo without you knowing. Nakamura kayo, nalalason nyo na yung anak nyo. So, those kinds of things, no? Seasonal yan, sir. Pag malapit sa June, yung mga school items, ngayon medyo nakaiwas kami kasi walang face-to-face, pero dumami naman yung smuggling ng electronic items kasi nagkaroon ng online classes. So, we had to guard against that. Pagdating ng bear months naman, sir, we look into items that are really being sold during the Christmas season. Pagkain, substandard Christmas lights na maaaring makasunog, vegetable items, mostly agricultural items na meron tayong local industry na nagbebenta pa lang sila, meron ng imported sa merkado, so walang bumibili ng kanilang mga produkto. So we look out for those to protect our local industry and of course to protect our people na din kasi wala namang mga permits to mga to. And of course, yung nahuli nyo, sir, that's round the clock. Ano yan? All year round, I think nagiging problema namin yan. January pa lang, I think meron na kami nahuhuli again sunod-sunod. Kaya nga wala akong naging recourse yung bureau, no? But to again recommend to the president yung pag nagdudurog kami to set an example kasi malalakas ang loob minsan ng mga smugglers pag na.
Yeah, Jet, wala ba kayong mga pinapakulong? Kasi alam mo, pag dinudurog niyo yung mga Ferrari, Porsche, parang sinasaksak niyo yung puso ko. Napakagaganda sasakyan, panaginip ko laang yan. But I mean, have we actually sent people to jail? Because the way I am analyzing this is not simple smuggling or undervalue of taxes. This is beginning to go to the realm of money laundering, as I pointed out in my articles. Kayo ba may napakulong ng mga ganyang tao or it's not provided by law?
In the past, sir, may mga nakasuhan kami. May mga napakulong naman kami. But now, of course, we have to start with filing again of cases. Yan, siguro magandang angulo yan, sir. No? In fact, we're working with the Anti-Money Laundering Council now. And
Mhm.
that's one of the schemes that we're looking at. Kasi more than I think yung pag-file namin ng criminal cases, the anti-money laundering can come in and freeze these assets. And
Yun.
link this to bank accounts and some other assets, no. So napakagandang angulo niyan, sir. And ngayon meron kaming renewed cooperation with the Anti-Money Laundering Council. And this is one of those that the commissioner has already instructed the intelligence group to flag AMLC.
I think what the public needs to know is the performance of collection of the BOC. Kasi in the past decades, binabanatan, always under collection. Mukhang nakaka-score daw kayo. Can you please share that with us?
Yes, sir. In fact, we've been on target since last year. No? We've met, sir, the collection target um, in 2019, in 2020, even with the pandemic. In 2019, we were about 2 to 3% short lang. And based on projections, meron kami mga 7% talaga, sir, na margin of error. So in 2020, we exceeded our target even with the pandemic. Right now, we're on track again to meeting our target. For the first 10 months of the year, surplus ho kami by about I think about 2 to 3 billion pesos. So we're expecting to meet again the target for this year. But more than that, I think yung goal na namin, ang goal na ni Commissioner Guerrero is to collect as much surplus, no? Not just to meet the target, but to collect as much surplus because we're very sensitive of the fact that we're the second largest revenue collection agency of the government, and our contribution really helps in the funding for not just for the pandemic, but for the government to actually recover, for our economy and the government to recover from this pandemic.
Okay, well, I tell you what, pag nakaipon ka naman ng mga kwento of Bureau of Customs personnel who have been exemplary and who have caught or intervened in certain criminal activities, let us know so we can give them honor and ma-feature naman sila. And at the same time, kung meron kang pwedeng i-firing squad, pakisabi na rin sa amin, ano? Para dito na natin talaga gayat-gayatin yung mga criminal. Because I know Commissioner Guerrero is trying to find all of these people as well as Assistant Deputy Commissioner Ramiro mentioned that to me. Cito, talagang hinahanap namin. We need to get them because they are a detriment to the BOC efforts. Anyway, Jet, thank you very much for your time this morning, and I do hope this becomes a more regular activity between the BOC and Agenda. Have a good day. I do hope you learned a lot from those two episodes that we featured on our recap, our year-end recap. And please be careful in 2022. Scammers and smugglers will still abound. People will still try to make money. But we here in Agenda are going to try to give you the best information on all of this. So please do take care and keep it here on One News PH.